Hello and welcome to another episode of JC Core Scores. Tonight we're going to be talking about the 2014 DCI premiere from Akron, Ohio.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of JC Core Score. I'm your host, Chris.
I'm your host, Justin.
Tonight we are talking about DCI premiere night in theaters. Disclaimer, we know this is a pre-recorded event, so we say tonight, we mean Saturday.
We're going to get things started today with Cabbies. They were the first ones on the field, and they came out blasting. First thing I noticed with them was that they had marimbas on the field. They had a very powerhouse come to expect from Cavaliers. Their brass, everything they did was impactful. It slapped you in the face with sound. It was clear, crisp, typical Cabbies. So they had a very interesting show. Its theme is titled Immortal. It got them to 5th place today with a score of 70.8. They had a really interesting concept with this theme of the vampires are undead. The guard members are actually the vampires, and they're trying to take the souls away from the rest of the Corps. They have a very nice intro piece, very impactful, and then they have a sort of somber ballad with a concert euphonium solo. And it's very beautiful. Again, somber, very mellow and macabre. And at the end of this solo, they hold up the baritone player, and a guard member comes up and rips the soul out of his chest. A very neat visual effect. Then we move into the percussion feature, and again, as I said, the marimbas are on the field, but they actually move around, and basses are doing some crazy splits while being pushed around in these marimbas. And the marimbas, 5 of them, make a pentagon, and they proceed to play on each other's marimbas and run through and forth each other and across and do some crazy spins, all doing these crazy 16 notes with 4 mallets and 30-second notes. It's really cool, really high energetic, and I can't wait to see how it looks in the future.
So next up was going to be Boston Crusaders. They're doing the show Animal Farm. They got a 66.4 and came in 7th place. Boston has a new uniform this year. It's a faded red to black with crisscrossing patterns, mirrors, cords, and they also have their logo printed on their chest with gauntlets. So it looks like a dipped in blood kind of look, according to their visual director. Their show is Animal Farm. It's very weird, very strange, very minor. They even played their chorus song at the beginning of the show as a pre-show. That was even in a minor key. Definitely a different Boston. Boston's known for, tugging at your heartstrings and getting that connection with the audience. This time they didn't really do that. It was very, it's like, okay. It was their first show, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt this season. Maybe they're going to come out with something different. Maybe they'll tweak it a little bit. Maybe they'll find that section that's, okay, so that's what they want us to feel. This is what they want. That connection will happen. They had a really nice ballad. They actually made a 20-foot tall windmill out of their percussion and guard members, battery members, and so that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
They have 3 windmills in their entire show, and it's kind of it's a very Animal Farm. They have a very Old MacDonald kind of creepy feel to it. It's a really interesting show. Not sure if the audience has bought into it quite yet, but it's there. They are doing some Russian music, so it's not American music, but it does fit. And like I said, it's a different Boston, and we're not sure if we like it or not yet. We'll keep you posted throughout the season, see how they grow as a new core.
Madison Scouts, their show Time Trip, got them 6th place today with a score of 67.35. And it's a very new Madison Scouts look with an all-white uniform with a green baldric and the green fleur-de-lis on the sleeve. Very interesting, clean look. Their show, Time Trip, is starting off with the 50s kind of jazz era with the music of Stan Keaton. and it opens with this trumpet. I guess you can call it a fanfare, but it's jazzy. It's syncopated. It's nice. It's heavy. It's fun. You can really get into it. Got a lot of hard hitting cymbal impacts in the front ensemble, and it's really energetic. They are going with the black and white look for the first half of their show because it's the 50s. They didn't have color TV. So that's what they're trying to get across. And then as the show progresses, we're moving farther along in time and we're getting closer to the 60s era. You start to see more color appear. It starts to get more psychedelic. It's cool. It's fun. It's groovy. Then they stop. Some of the horn line put down their horns, and they actually pick up trombones. They are one of the few corps embracing the new all-brass rule, and they have a very cool, very neat trombone feature. I was on the fence with the rule. They have turned me. I am into this new trumpet feature with the Madison Scouts, and I look forward to seeing it at other shows. But yeah, again, as it moves through, there is one guard member who slowly walks in the beginning, and then as the show progresses towards the end, he starts to do somersaults and backflips. I'm not sure what his purpose is. But he is part of the show, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how he fits into their storyline. But yeah, it's very chronological, very neat to see, and I look forward to watching them and how they progress throughout the season.
Next up is Phantom Regiment with Swan Lake. They had a 72.05, coming in 4th place. Phantom Regiment has a new uniform this year. It's white with on top half going to black. This definitely is classic Phantom, especially with their music. They're doing the classical music, but with a new twist to it. So it's the good versus evil concept. So they started in those white uniforms, and then they have a uniform change about halfway through the show into an all black uniform. Really cool look. Starts with the guard and then the battery. And then it moves to the low brass. They kind of have a battle going on while the one horn player is looking for his beloved swan. Then the whole corps goes to black, except for the one color guard girl. She stays in her swan. They meet up again, a classic love story, and of course, in true Phantom fashion, the horn player dies. So, yes.
Does the white swan kill the horn player?
Oh, that's a good point. I did notice that the guard did kind of come together, and you don't really see what happens. But then they all come apart, and the white swan is gone. Now, I did notice where she went. She is actually hiding behind one of the trumpet players in the circle. I did catch that.
Yeah.
She's under a black cloak. So that is where that's the visual concept and the visual program. The brass is phenomenal this year. They definitely have a good powerhouse. They are coming out strong. It's a very good, strong first weekend for them. I look forward to seeing where they take this show and how well they can do it. And that is all for Phantom Regiment.
That moves us into Carolina Crown, our core of the week last episode. They had a very, very powerful show this time with their show Out of This World, and got them a 74.95 and got them in 2nd place. I don't agree with it, but so their intro, again, I always love it. It's David Bowie's Space Oddity, which I will correct myself from last video, was released in 1972, not in the 80s. My bad. But yeah, again, very cool, very a cappella. I love it. It's very spacey. Again, it sets up this whole theme. And then they build, but they don't, and it's really cool into this huge horn hit that they hold out beautifully. It's this beautiful, powerful sound. And then they continue out throughout the show, and it's very spacey. And they're going out and exploring space, and then they get to the percussion feature, and it's kind of all the weirdness and the quirkiness of space, I guess you could say, with the battery playing on car mufflers and these 1/4-inch bronze or brass discs that a very unique sound, very cool. I see though that their percussion feature or their percussion section did not score high as they have in other competitions. I think the fact that they're standing still instead of moving around the field is hurting them. So maybe they should explore with mounting them onto the snare drums or something, or doing something to that effect would be cool. I don't know what else to say about it. It's a very neat feature. Yeah.
Could the guard maybe do something with them? Because I don't exactly remember what the guard is doing at that point in time, but I think maybe the guard could, help with that too as well. Maybe they could actually put more of a feature around that section and, give them that
Yeah.
visual score that they need with the movement.
But yeah, and then, but again, with the guard, they're using more of the trampolines this time, and there's guard people doing backflips and somersaults and doing these really cool gymnastic moves with these trampolines, and it's very, you get that feeling of less gravity, of being on the moon, being on an alien surface. I know when I was a kid, it always felt like I was on the moon, I was on a trampoline, and you can really see that with, their show and the use of these, trampolines around the field. Now, keeping with the trampolines, they're field props. They are everywhere. They have these white discs all over the field. They have some with instruments on there, and then they have some with just white discs. I know they have 8 million timpani, which I love. It's a beautiful sound you can get with all this nice deep kettle drums and the low sound they produce. They have concert bass drums out there on the field, and tam-tams and gongs and other instruments and bongos and congos and any other ongos you can think of. They have some of their hornline people are throwing frisbees, and when you see it from the stands, they look like flying saucers. So it's really cool. And in true Carolina Crown fashion, they did it for the common good. They did it with the Eagles MC Squared. They had done a 3-dimensional shape in those shows. Common good, it was a cube, and Eagles MC Squared, it was that awesome 3D triangle. And this time, if you remember as a kid watching the movie Treasure Planet, they do the Treasure Planet 3D dimensional shape and rotate it, and it looks really cool. It's a really amazing part of the show, and I was very impressed with how well they can pull off these 3-dimensional shapes, and it's just an amazing, amazing program Crown has this year, and I think they'll carry them very far. Now, we have, we're going to split the cadets here.
Okay. So cadets came out with a 76.5, and their show is
Promise, an American Portrait.
Dealing with President Lincoln, Kennedy, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. They actually won this contest. They did beat out Carolina Crown, the last year's world champions. Their show it has Lincoln Portrait. So it does come with that narration. It is a concert band piece that actually has narration of the Gettysburg Address in it, and other speeches he's done. This time they take it a step further. They actually have quotes from JFK. They also have quotes from Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And then they even take it a step farther than that, which is where it kind of gets to the George Hopkins cadets narration that I spoke of in the last episode. They actually have a character, a member, who actually comes out and talks. Not sure if he's helping or hurting the show. Some people just want to hear the music. They don't want to hear you talk about the music or talk about, they don't want you to spell out every single detail of the show. Obviously, their GE score is high, so the judges, I guess, are responding to it. Just don't know if the crowd is. I'm not a real big fan of narration. I'm a fan of pre-recorded narration. I'm not a fan of the live narration.
Well, I disagree with that to an extent, because Crown has done live narration, and they do it. They don't overdo it, and I think that's what cadets do. They overdo it.
Well, see, the thing is, with Carolina Crown show last year, that's actually part of the piece, Einstein on a Beach. That's part of the actual thing. So it's actually a voice that you have to do. It's an actual part written into the piece. The difference with cadets is they're adding this narration that's not part of that piece.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's the problem I have, is that they're just adding this stuff on as a layer, and then. But they do have this big giant stage. It's an 1800s campaign stage, basically. They could do more with it. Right now it's just a platform with curtains. They do use that stage for the soloists. And Justin, if you want to talk about the soloists.
Yeah, so they had some really cool soloists. They have some a flugelhorn up there. They have a trumpet and other things. And then again, another one of the corps embracing the all brass rule. They have a French horn up there, and it's now me personally, I couldn't really hear the French horn even though it was the only thing playing at the time. But again, it's a French horn that's facing away from you, so it's facing away from the audience. So maybe they should explore with miking it or something. I'm not sure. But I still think they could do more at the stage. I feel like they should have the horn line run up and down opposite, have high brass crossing in front of low brass, and have them running across playing their fast notes that and doing crazy things that George Hopkins is famous for. I would maybe have a battery feature on the platform too. Because right now it's just kind of there. It's in front of the core. It's right there behind the front ensemble, and I feel like it's almost cutting off the core from the rest of the audience, and I think it hurts. But again, obviously the judges didn't think so. I felt it did, but again, it's not up to us. We're just spectators. But yeah, what are your thoughts about the horn line as a ensemble?
Horn line is phenomenal this year. I mean, the music is there. It's the music of Aaron Copland, it's American icon. You know, it's always going to be great music. The kids do a fantastic job of playing it, performing it. I'm just not sure if, you know, all the elements of the show are clicking and being cohesive. Obviously, the judges seem to think so, but as a spectator, and, you know, seeing the sport, it's just kind of like, you know, the overall visual concept, the concept of the show is fantastic, and it's working so far. I just don't know. I talked about this last episode, that cadet plateau that happens, if they're going to be able to, you know, overcome that. Because right now, it's the top three are Blue Devils, Carolina Crown, and Cadets. And right now, Cadets is second, so their only obstacle right now is Blue Devil, but Carolina Crown fashion, you never know what's going to be next, so they could come up behind them and take it if they don't, you know, watch that plateau that they hit, you know, because they could sit there and just level off and be totally, you know, helpless to the Carolina Crown Blue Devils battle that's happening.
One thing I will say, and we'll lead you into this, is Cadets did not actually win every caption. The one caption that another corps beat them in was percussion, and that was actually won by the Blue Coats. So, Chris, tell us about the Blue Coats, because we are running out of time.
Yeah, which was great because, you know, Cadets are known for that percussion line, battery line, and, you know, Blue Coats took it. So Blue Coats' show is Tilt. They had a 72.8, and they got third place, which I believe they wholeheartedly deserve, and they are a core to watch this season. They could actually almost take it too, so it could be a four-core run. They have this tarp. Basically, it's an outline of a field, but it's tilted, so it's askew, so it kind of makes you turn your head a little bit because their forms are kind of set to that new skew line. Gives you that kind of that weird feel. They have these great props ramps. They move around and play on a little bit, so they wobble on them. The guard uses them. The percussion uses them. The percussion are playing their butts off. This is amazing percussion that I have yet to see from the Blue Coats, and it's really exciting to see that the percussion is growing along with the horns, because the horns have always been able to put out a great show. Talking about the brass next, the brass book is just amazing this year. They use a lot of cool synthesizer stuff that I'm not going to get into, because if you haven't seen it yet, you've got to see it. I can't actually put into words how cool the ending of their show is and how they use that synthesizer. The visual program, there's no storyline, there's no, you know, hidden tricks. It is just basically drums, percussion, sorry, that is the same thing, battery, brass line, and color guard. There's
Brass
no
people,
fancy
yeah.
tricks, yeah, well. So it's an amazing package. The visual program is there. The color guard is on point. The percussion's on point, and the brass are on point. They are a core to watch. So that is all for this edition. Tune in next time for more drum corps news and scores. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Tonight was brought to you by Moore and Joe Designs. You can find the link to their website in the comment section along with tonight's/Saturday's recaps.
Tell us what your thoughts about tonight's show are in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.